Oh, hiya, buddies. You know, I've heard it said that 3-1 is the worst lead in hockey. And I never know if that's statistically accurate. Right? It's like, oh, it's the worst lead in hockey because you think you're home and cooled a little bit.
It was 2-0 because it's probably even earlier
maybe,
in the game.
Yeah, maybe.
But a 2-goal lead for sure seems to get all the bad rep out there.
Yeah, this was an interesting one. Flames fall 4-3 in regulation at home to the St. Louis Blues. And welcome to Afterburner. We got all night. We're here at the Stage Bar, the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Say hello.
Home away from home. We are here once again, and just over down the hall. There's a lot going on at the event center. I'll let you know all about it coming up. But we're back here. The start of the hockey game, I was curious to see because we've talked about it. We talked about it on the other show with Rhett. What are you going to see? You had two high emotional games, tempo, so much attention. You're revved up for the Leafs. You're revved up for the Oilers. Is this a bit of a letdown spot for the Flames? So we saw Markstrom have to be brilliant early.
Yes.
Is that the result of this, or I guess the overall effort as compared to the start? What did you see out of the Flames?
It was just really sloppy early, and I don't know if that's a lack of focus or effort because they said all the right things after those games. We got to be better. We got to get back to doing what we do. It's like, okay, well, saying is one thing, but like everyone being invested in going is another, and you can't help but subconsciously just be a little less intense when you're less up for a game. It was a Saad partial break. It was Buchnevich in the slot. It was a Falk bomb from the point. It was Krug joining the rush from the slot. It was Hayes on the power play from the right dot. Jacob Markstrom earned all of his money for his game today before there was a single goal on the scorecard, which actually went to the Flames, the first goal. If he's not spectacular early, this is a blowout. And I felt the same way about Dan Vladar against Edmonton early on Saturday. And so suddenly it's two in a row where your goalie has been excellent and allowed you to hang in a game that you didn't really show up on time for. At least you showed up and made a lot of mistakes early. And they don't get rewarded with any points because, there's lots more to talk about here.
What's that horseshoes and hand grenades? I've never really understood how that goes.
Yeah.
Close only matters in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Have you played horseshoes?
Yeah. I think so.
So you get a point if you're within the distance of the horseshoe to the pole.
Is that what it is?
If you get a ringer, you get even more points. You get a leaner, you get some of the ringers what you want.
Okay. See, because I feel like a hand
close, you get rewarded.
See, I didn't know that.
And in hand grenades, maybe you miss the guy, but his whole house blew up. I got him. Like that's
here. I thought I was going to go this entire day without learning something new. Because you're right, hand grenade, you've got a little bit of room for
proximity, a little
room for error. I just thought with horseshoes, you had to pretty much be dead on accurate. But you're saying that's not
a horseshoe. You can get a point. Leaner's 2, ringer is 3, I believe.
Well, how about that? So close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. And for the Flames, they were close against the Leafs. They were close against the Oilers and close against the Blues. And they have a 3-game losing streak.
Right after the 4-game winning streak.
Right after the 4-game winning streak.
When we almost, when Red actually started talking about adding at the deadline.
That's right.
Yeah. Right at that point, the bottom fell out.
Yeah, that's about what it fell out. Also, Markstrom, were you did you have kind of flashbacks when he comes darting out of the net to dive at that puck that Saad is poking at?
There was a few that on the Twitters were talking about some classic Markstrom racing out.
Hooked him in the head, and then he was concussed and missed a great deal of time, if you recall.
I thought
that's what it was for me anyway.
And it was. And they'd played him on both ends of a back-to-back. They're playing the shit out of him.
Yeah.
And we had Kevin Woodley coming on with us every week saying, you don't want to play too much of Markstrom. It's not just physical fatigue, it's mental fatigue. And like it was an example of something he should not have done.
Yeah. I remember we were debating, well, that's not a fatigue thing. That's just kind of a freak accident. But yeah, he took that knee or whatever it was in the side of the head and then was concussed. Anyway,
is that when Big Dave was born?
Neither here. Yeah, probably.
Who else it could have been?
Yeah, because you got
there's been a lot of goalies since Mika.
Did you see Big Save Dave broke his stick in LA last night? He was very upset. Very upset. He's an emotional
break
guy.
Or stick flip, which is worse. It's never really been the same since the stick flip.
Yeah. And then there was the headbutt down the hallway. Also not good. Anyway, stay focused, shall we? So yes, a bit of a sloppy start, a kind of a weird sloppy game. I said to you, like either coach is going to be happy with this one.
No.
But it was back and forth and
how many
lazy plays. How many breakaways were there?
Was there 6?
And we talked the heat map. Where's the heat map that was scored? There were high danger chances.
No
in this
shortage.
Game.
Yeah, I have a different color. The whole.
I see it, yeah.
There's a lot of chances there. That's the green. A lot of green on tonight.
So interesting to hear what Husko will say. He's not going to like the result and certainly won't like the path that they got there, as they were pretty loose.
You're too loose
against a team that is
bad turnovers. Anderson right in the slot in the third. Uyghur with a brutal turnover. The third pair just allows breakaways. I think. I don't know. It's their fault.
It's a team you're chasing. It's a team you're at least in a battle with for one of these wild card spots if you have designs on it. So we
talked about it. There's Phoenix, there's Arizona, there's Nashville, there's Minnesota. Did I say that already? No, I said Arizona. That rhymes. Calgary, and it's like, okay, well, Hartford. One of you can probably get the second wild card. Who's going to do it? And that's twice now against the Blues, where they've lost to the Blues. So they have 0 out of 4 points, and the Blues have 4 out of 4 points. And I recall last year, it was on the same road trip that they were dragging around Jacob Pelche, not letting him play. Right. Darryl had him on the road, and it was the same road trip that they eventually lost in Chicago in ugly fashion in, I want to say, Jan or Feb. They had not even a late. They had a third period lead, and everything looked home and cooled for the Flames in St. Louis. And then it was bang, late one, bang, over. They lose. You're like, how did that happen? And there were shades of that tonight. It was 3-1 at one point, and the way that Markstrom's been playing and the caliber opponent that they've been up against and been close with, to allow 3 straight goals here, a little bit shocking, and they just couldn't batten it down nor bury that next one that would have made it a 3-goal lead, and it's kind of the sign of a not great team.
To me, that was kind of that I mentioned to you, that the sequence in that game. Sharon Govich scores, gets his 20th. Awesome for Sharon Govich.
Wow.
You know, why don't we do that?
Yeah,
we've picked that as our highlight of the night. Let's a little positivity for the Flames. Sharon Govich has been on a nice little tear. He had goals in back-to-back games, didn't score against Edmonton, and then somebody on their Betway bets today said, Sharon Govich is going to get back in the horse, going to get back on it.
Who's that smart guy?
I don't know who it was. It's hard to say. The Betway highlight of the night for Betway. Right through. So there you go.
Kovalev. Jeez.
The 20th of the year for Igor Sharangovich, 24 career high, correct?
Yeah, his second year in the league, he had 24. Those were the tools you were betting on in the trade. You were hoping it was not the half the total the next year when he tumbled down the depth chart. But to be fair, you knew there'd be more opportunity in the top 6 in Calgary than there would be in Jersey, and he's made good on those tools. And after what felt like almost a month, nearly that whole 10-game miserable start to the season where he fell down the lineup to the 4th line, it's been great since then on the top unit with Lindholm.
His 20th is our Betway highlight of the night. Get the Betway app on your phone, get it on your laptop, your tablet, and play along. We got big playoff football coming this weekend, hockey every night. Just makes it more fun. The official gaming partner of Afterburner and Barnburner is Betway. Bet the responsible way with Betway. Let's, because it was the Sharangovich goal that kind of kicked off that sequence that kind of, in my eyes, kind of led to that undoing. But that and more, we've got a little hungry for more and some other notes from this hockey game.
Special teams still
I mean, it just all if this feels like
we've done the show before,
if this feels like a heavier loss, I think it's because it is. This
for sure. I think there's been enough in the last. We talked about it before the 3-game losing skid. They were 19, 11, and 4 2. Like it was 6-11 points percentage since the outdoor game, and you're like, damn, that's when they traded Zadorov, when they missed Tanev for 3. Markstrom had been hurt twice in that stretch, and you're like, shit. Maybe if you squint, you can see with one wild card open, this team being the best of the rest. And there's enough around there. They aren't getting blown out. They are scoring a fair amount. There is room for improvement on the power play. They are getting stellar net minding. This one stings because it's 3 in a row now, and I think we're back to where I think we all thought we would be, which is they can hang, but just don't expect them to win or outclass.
Questions as well coming up before the end of the show. You can get them in on the chat, whether you are on YouTube or Facebook or however, get it in and we'll take a few questions before we shut it down, but we're a ways away from that. We'll come back 2 minutes. Stay there.
We've been telling you about our daily survivor pool at dailyfaceoff.com for Wendy's. Now, SOG, GAA, and PPG can make or break your week, but don't overlook the BPMM. BPMM. The Wendy's Bacon Portobello Mushroom Melt. Aha, the BPMM. Sure, it may not help you win your weekly fantasy prizes at dailyfaceoff.com, but unlike your predictions, it never, ever disappoints. Oh, BPMM. So try your luck, but don't push it, because the Bacon Portobello Mushroom Melt is only back for a limited time. And if you miss it, you're not getting a second chance. So sign up for Daily Face-Off today. It's the Survivor Pool, sponsored by Wendy's and the Wendy's app. Love that. BPMM. There's not much better than hockey season, and yeah, you can always cheer on your favorite team at the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino's Stage Bar. You can enjoy the games on the massive big screen TVs they've got hanging above the bar. Friends, drinks, delicious food. Let's go. Visit Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.ca for more information. Now, maybe it's not game time yet, but there's always happy hour in the afternoon. Make the most of your day with great drinks and food at the Stage Bar and Blaze Bar and Grill for the happy hour every day, 2 to 5 at the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Great food, specialty drinks, all starting at $5. Visit Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.ca for more information. We'll see you there.
You will see me there.
I mean, we literally
That's
are here right now.
unbelievable.
You
It's
do
crazy.
see us here.
Unbelievable. Don't even know how we did that. There was before you got here, there was somebody here that was just walking by, sitting here by the Stage Bar. Guy walks by. Congrats on the win. Congrats on the win. He was referring to the pond hockey.
He wasn't a prophet. He wasn't talking about the Blues tonight,
no. He was because I had kind of said of which with the pond hockey
thing.
Congrats on your win. Well, thank you very much. I had a big hand in the victory and not playing.
It was your unwillingness to believe in us that was the fuel to our underdog
catalyst.
fire. That was the coal in our engine.
Yeah, imagine if I was out there. It'd be sad times indeed.
I
But
don't know that. Could have used another body.
it's
Did a good job from the
It
sidelines.
was such a great weekend. The weather was awesome.
It was spectacular.
Because I went through yesterday, I cut the video and put that together. When you're doing it quick and you're kind of feverishly. And I had a picture of Mandeep, so I sent him a photo.
Yeah.
Madison, who works in Edmonton, she's like, if anybody has some photos, can you send them off to us?
Yeah.
And it was such a great event. It goes by so quickly. You get there, you got your 2 days, and then you come back. So thank you to Betway while we're at it. And of course, Booster Juice jumped on board with us as well. Great sponsors, tournament sponsors.
Player of the game's got nice
right.
prize packs from Booster Juice, and a Booster Juice was a welcome sight a few of those mornings.
Yeah, you get the berry points and some
much needed vitamins.
Yeah, something that's kind of maybe perhaps better for you than some of the other stuff.
My liver
that's going
likes
on.
this.
That's
I'll
right.
have two.
But berry points, get everything with Booster Juice. So thanks to Booster Juice for that. And yes, we're still basking in that victory. So I had mentioned before, kind of that sequence of events. You're up 3-1. Sharon Govich's goal gives you the 2-goal lead.
Vibes are good.
Then late in the period, you get a power play, and we've talked about the power play. The only one, St. Louis, their power play is as bad.
Identical, yeah.
But maybe here 4-1. With how that game looked, because they
Nice.
really turned it up in the second period.
Yeah.
I thought the Flames really asserted themselves well in the second. You get another goal, a power play goal there. 4-1, I think it's lights out, even though there's 20 minutes left. But instead, a misplay at the offensive blue line, and Braden Shen skates the length of the ice and scores a short-handed goal with 2:47 left.
Another breakaway.
Gives them just enough life. Those goals are just killers near the end of the period. We're now, hey, let's just get one bounce, get one goal, we're right back into this thing. We're at 4-1. They'd have been cooked.
And also right after that, to Sharon Govich 20th, you saw Zeri at the side of the net. It was a weird one. I think Coronato's stick actually stopped from going in. They're both trying to get a whack at that at the side of the net. That one would have made it 4-1. I don't know that Bennington was great, but the Flames didn't seize that opportunity to lead by 3. I just think one more and they're dead.
Yeah. The Uyghur goal is a great shot. Sharon Govich goal is a great shot. Hannafin, kind of that turn, it went off of Parayko and in.
But he still gets great wood on it as it's fluttering down. Like, good on him to time that up and get all of it. And then it changes directions and you're like, oh yeah, like Bennington has no chance on that.
So they get a little bit of luck there. And I guess the Blues get some luck on the game winner. I don't know what exactly happened.
Yes, that was leg. It hits Gilbert, far post, and then in. Markstrom's set to face the shooter, and the leg sends it to the far side, an angle he probably doesn't think's realistic. Then it's posting in. I mean, that's tough, but I mean, like you said, there were some bounces that led to a couple of their goals.
Yeah. I guess, and before we took a quick break there, the reason it feels heavy, I don't, depending on what you're cheering for. Again, I've been doing this for weeks. What do you want? Do you want them to trade everybody and load up on picks, or are you saying, no, you can still do both? Let's just try and get in.
Yeah.
The way they went about it, rough start, so many breakaways against, defensive miscues, a blown lead. They're the team that comes back on teams. They're the ones that are
They led the league with third period comebacks. When we ended that winning streak, we did a post-game show. We talked about it. It was like, that's 8 or 9, I believe it was at the time. And that leads the NHL, third period comebacks. And now it's the opposite, where it's as fun as those comebacks feel, these ones are equally deflating the other way.
It felt almost like the pre-Darryl Flames team. If you remember, just defensively, they were so
not good at all.
So
like,
loose.
Where's the structure
in their own
and it
zone.
wasn't just the third pair, who are guys that, frankly, shouldn't be getting the minutes they should. You start the season on paper with Shillington, Zadorov as your third pair. These guys are starting in the American League in most instances, and instead they're logging significant minutes. Yeah, like that, it's going to happen to them. But it was Weegar sloppy, Anderson with a turnover lead. Everyone was a little too casual with the puck.
Little wacky. Were they lollygagging?
Yeah,
lollygag in and out of the dugout.
The other chance they had late, Anderson in front draws the penalty. Somehow Huberto on that breakaway does not draw a penalty, and I thought he gets whacked enough for a penalty twice, one by a defender on each side, and at the point where there's no chance he can even get a shot off on what looked like a breakaway. And it almost felt like the Anderson call was a makeup one, or it was like, at least we can't make that same mistake twice. It was
because usually when
that one stung, but it wasn't as if a power play was going to solve their problems tonight,
because they got the power. You're right. Yeah. But when you're in alone, there's a lot. It's going to take something probably pretty minor, and especially if it's in the hands. Whereas Falk lifted and got right into his hands, but neither here nor there.
Yeah, and look, I mean, we talked about it all summer. The place you don't want to be is just in love with your own personnel if you're Craig Conroy, believing you can be 1 or 2 points better than a group of teams to get the last playoff spot, when in the grand scheme, we get it. Like, they're not a contender here. You're looking at a conference that has a red-hot Vancouver club and an even hotter Edmonton club, powerhouses like Colorado, Vegas, Dallas, Winnipeg. Like, there's just, what, you think maybe you could throw a dart from across the bar and hit a bullseye? I mean, it's not impossible, but it can't be a strategy here. There has to be something further out that we're looking at, or that they're looking at and saying, this is more important than the hope and a prayer Hail Mary, which it feels like this team going into a playoff series would be.
The perfect tonic might be coming into town in a couple of days. We'll take a look at the road ahead for Village Honda. It's as though Honda designed the CRV for Calgary and its unpredictable weather. No matter what the conditions, the CRV sits atop the pack among the compact SUV category. You feel confident behind the wheel of your CRV SUV, as Honda included a plethora of driver safety features that come standard on every model of the CRV. Find one at Village Honda in the Northwest Auto Mall, your dealership for life. So the road ahead, we know the All-Star break is coming fast.
Quick, 2 games to go. It's been the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, January. Played 1 game all month that wasn't on those, and it was that miserable, I believe, Sunday afternoon loss in Chicago.
Yeah.
But the rest have been Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and that means they'll be off tomorrow, play Thursday. It's Johnny Gaudreau and the Columbus Blue Jackets, who are having a worse season than the Flames. They'll make their only visit of the season, and then it's Chicago, who have beat the Flames 4 consecutive times. That, the final game before everyone will disperse. It'll be off to Toronto for Elias Lindholm for the All-Star game. Everyone else, 10 days. We'll see you in Boston on Feb 6th. Yeah. That's a ways out.
It's quite the curve in terms of emotions. It's Leafs, Oilers, St. Louis, Columbus, and then, take your pick with Chicago, I suppose.
Yeah, the caliber of opponent, you could argue, has gone up, up, down, down, down. but it's weird. Last year with this group, you didn't worry about them playing a contender type club. You did worry last year when this group played a cellar dweller that they maybe just eased up the slightest amount. They were awful against the bottom 10 teams. Anaheim at home. Chicago beat them every game. Like, there were some bad teams that took points. Columbus got them pretty good, if I recall, in one of those games. This team's not good enough to just start thinking they can pack bags and the points will be there.
And because this one's fresh, right? This is, you deal with what's in front of you first. They were not very good tonight.
No.
Outside of this game, we didn't mind them against Toronto. They were not, like, Edmonton was not a very good game either, I suppose.
And that's a really good team you ran into. They didn't give anyone much these days, and you didn't get a lot, but that's kind of how Edmonton's looked for a while.
Maybe it's enough to have Johnny Gaudreau. That might be enough for guys to, because there's no other reason to get up for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
How many guys are left?
I just, if that's the only shred.
The crowd will be up.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, like, there's a lot of guys. There's 8 guys that have come up from the Wranglers this year. None of them would have played with Johnny.
Yeah.
You got the pieces of the Tkachuk trade. They didn't play with Johnny. Sharon Govich didn't play with Johnny. It's probably half the roster, less than half the roster at this point, even though it was only 2 years ago.
Well, Rhett kind of said it. This week worries me. This week worries me.
Yeah.
And maybe we saw a little bit why that was the case. So 2 more before the All-Star break, a huge 10-day break following that.
And it's 4 on the road after that, which doesn't look easy.
Boston's in there.
Islanders, who've looked better under Waugh, small sample.
Yeah.
Rangers, who are always seemingly good these days. And, not Detroit. They played Detroit the first year. Someone else good.
Yeah, that's good.
That's real good stuff.
That's the road ahead for Village Honda. New in-stock inventory on the ground. Start your automotive adventures at Village Honda. New vehicle pricing is MSRP. Maybe your vehicle through the cold snap.
It's happening a lot.
I'm going to take that in to get repaired. I got to get that taken care of. Now's the time to take care of it. Service department at Village Honda will help you and get that done for you. We take a final break. But when we come back, a little hungry for more with DoorDash. We'll look around the NHL tonight and see what else was happening on the scoreboard. And we'll take your questions. You can get them in on the chat via Facebook or on the YouTubes. Stay there. 2 minutes.
Are you thinking of buying or selling your home in the Calgary area? Well, there's one guy you've got to talk to. That's my pal, Derek Newman. Derek, born and raised in Calgary, volunteer, a pillar of the community, huge sports fan, girls, golfs, all kinds of sports, not to mention, yes, he loves, indeed, the Calgary Flames. So if you want to talk real estate in your community or you just want to chat about the Flames and what's going on in the sports world, you can give Derek a call. Incredibly friendly and approachable, but more importantly, trustworthy and incredibly hardworking. Take advantage of their complimentary in-house home staging consultation. Also, whether it's your first time or you're a seasoned buyer or seller of homes, he's going to understand what you're looking for and help you meet your goals. Also, Derek's network, substantial. He's able to find some homes that aren't even on the market yet. So whether you're buying or selling, or you just want to see what's going on with the value of your place, give him a call or a text. He's going to get back to you right away. Derek Newman of Newman Deans Real Estate with CIR Realty. Let Derek put his network to work for you. Call or text Derek right now at 403-619-6661 or email him at dnewman@cirrealty.ca.
Greta, it's our home away from home for Afterburner. We'll be there for live watch parties throughout the season. Should be your spot regardless. Before, during, and after the game, grab a cocktail, something from the menu, let the games begin, or maybe you get into the game yourself. Over 50 arcade games from vintage to state-of-the-art. Load up some credits on that Greta game card of yours and get at it. Greta Calgary, located at 213 10th Avenue Southwest. Check them out online, gretabar.com. We are well into the winter months now, and you can feel it, can't you? That urge to get away. Maybe some beach time to warm up those bones of yours. Maybe a hockey, sports kind of road trip. Well, when you pack your bags, make sure you don't forget Alberta Blue Cross. There's only one thing better than sharing memories, and that's making new ones. Alberta Blue Cross Travel Insurance protects your memories and more, wherever travel takes you. Visit ab.bluecross.ca/travel for more information. Alberta Blue Cross, celebrating life's memorable moments inspired by hockey. And one other sponsor going to get in there for you, because Valentine's Day, Valentine's.
It's coming up quick, man. This is a sneaky holiday.
Tell you, what's the date today?
Way
23rd?
too sneaky. We're 2 weeks, 3 weeks from it. Jeez.
Charm Diamond Center is proudly Canadian-owned and operated since 1972. More than 85 locations across the country through Charm and their sister brands. You can get custom ring building delivered in less than 4 weeks. Not sure you're going to make that. Still, Charm Masterpiece Program, an unbeatable pricing policy. It's the perfect time to check out a large selection of Canadian lab-grown diamonds, mined diamonds, and don't pay until 2025 with their instant in-store financing OAC. For more info, it's online, charmdiamondcenters.com. Can't go wrong.
You heard the Greta ad in there?
I did.
I was sure we were heading to Greta tonight.
I thought we were going to Greta. I was okay with it.
It was like less than a minute left. You're like, all right. We kind of talked about a close game. You'd mentioned some trips to overtime. You're like, yeah, that wouldn't have been surprising. Two teams in a similar pocket in the standings after the similar spot. And, of course, a three-pointer to drive everyone nuts in this league. It didn't happen that way, but, you can still go play Bobble Bobble in the basement.
You can play Bobble
Bobble.
Well, I saw on their Instagram account on the weekend, or I guess it was after the Oiler game, maybe it was. There's somebody standing outside with like a flashing sign. Like you cannot miss it. It's like a beacon in the night.
Yeah.
Free bus to Greta. So yep, let's go. So they get on this
from the
bus
dome,
from the dome, and there's lights and tunes in the bus, and they're all going into. They got to figure it out over Greta.
They know what they're doing.
Yeah. It's not difficult.
The funny thing is it's not empty after the game. They don't need to be doing.
No, they do not.
It is a time in there.
But it was rammed. Okay, so we're gonna have some booze. We're gonna have some video games and
food too. They go back to the street bar, the little street food bar at the back.
Greta, good spot. We're going next month.
Yes, we are. We got a Canucks game in there and another one. We'll announce those dates soon enough, or you can just scour the schedule and, be ready.
Bobble. Let's do some Hungry for More.
I bet you're a golden tea or a big buck guy with buck hunter.
You know
buck hunter.
I'm going to have next time. I may have to go in ahead of before just to do the whole lay of the land and really scope it out.
It's in the basement.
Because I was a gamer as a kid.
Yes.
I was a gamer. We had a kind of a pool room / arcade.
Yeah.
So there's a few
good living there.
A few $5 bills were spent by
the Blue Heron,
yours
I believe, or the Kingfisher.
It was
the
no,
Kingfisher.
It was
What's the bird on the $5 bill?
I'm not sure.
Somebody help me.
Kingfisher. Hungry for more. It's DoorDash. Shows right up at your door. That's how it works. Restaurants, groceries, pharmacies, bakeries, whatever the case may be. Ordering's easy. You get the app on your phone. Beep. Get what you want, from where you want, when you want it, and it'll be left right outside your door. And for the time being, limited time only, our listeners and viewers get 25% off, 0 delivery fees in your first order of $15 or more when you download the DoorDash app and use the promo code NATION25. There it is on your screen, NATION25, to get that deal. So we do a segment called Hungry for More, courtesy of DoorDash.
Yes.
Whether it's good, bad, or however it falls in, what are you hungry for more of?
Well, we saw the return of Matthew Coronado Saturday against Edmonton, and I thought the Kadri line was pretty quiet. You didn't see a lot of Zeri. You didn't see a lot of Kadri, and tip your cap to the competition as part of that. Edmonton's just not been easy for anyone to play against, as evidenced by, 14 in a row tonight that they've strung together. But I thought that line was a lot more noticeable tonight, creating more chances around it. Grade A's. I still haven't seen an angle showing how Zeri didn't score that one at the side of the net, where Coronado might have got a piece of it somehow. But this is what you want to see from him. Shooting, creating chances. Second period, Coronado, 2 chances to make it 2-0. One of them in the slot. He can't really get it off. And then the second one he blasts. There were some chances for Zeri tonight, and for Coronado tonight. That's the guy you want to see. Using that shot, getting open, and guys around him using him. There was one sequence where I'm like, God, he's open. Just let him shoot that puck. Like I said, the same thing with Igor in overtime the other night. It's like, how do you have a 1 minute and 57 second 4-on-3 and your best finisher hasn't shot yet? And then sure enough, 11 seconds, he ends it. But that I liked a lot more of what I saw from Coronado than I did on Saturday.
Coronado just kind of zeros across the board. 15, 28 of ice and 3 shots. There was one
5 shot attempts I've seen there, or 7 shot attempts. 7 missed attempts, blocked and shots. Yeah, 7 shot attempts.
The puck follows him, and it wasn't totally, and I mean, maybe I'm squinting to see it, but there was the one kind of centering pass that came through the slot, and it found his stick, and he gets a shot away and it goes off his stick and wide. You get the feel with him once it starts to fall into place. It's going to roll. I don't question whether or not he's going to score at this league. It's just it may take a while.
How many times do we see a guy come from college, his first year pro, and score in this league? It's almost never. Like, it's a very, very hard thing to do, but you see the marks of a goal scorer in his game. To your point, puck follows him. In traffic, he gets shots off, has a nose around the net, wins the stick battles against bigger men. He's going to score a lot of goals, and it looks like in his second game after a significant stint in the A where he torched it to the tune of over a point per game, he's going to create some chances at this level too. It's a great sign. I want to see more of it.
There was even one when he was in the slot, not too far beyond the top of the crease, and he shot it basically right into Binnington. But it was a hard shot. So who shot that? Oh, it was Coronado. He got a lot on it. So it's just, give it some time. Give it some time.
And again, I don't know that we had much to say about him Saturday. Maybe that was the poutine and some sort of mushroom poutine, the beers.
I don't know. One of us had.
Maybe that had something to do with it, but I just didn't feel like that line danced much on Saturday.
No, that line was very quiet on Saturday. Not tearing things up tonight necessarily either.
No, but better. 7 shot attempts for the rookie. Love that.
Nation 25. That's your promo code to. And again, it's on your first order. So if you've not done it and you keep hearing us talk about it, what are you waiting for? Get the app, 25% off, free, 0 delivery fees. Get it done, because once you start door dashing, once you dash to the door with the door dash, it's just constant dashing. It's
too easy not to, is what I've noticed.
It's incredibly
once
easy.
You start, you can't stop. It's beautiful.
Dash that for the win. Thank you to DoorDash. So we've talked about the road ahead. The Blue Jackets are the next one up. It's been a horrible year. I saw Aaron Portzline, longtime beat writer for the Blue Jackets. He's you can imagine, what do you talk about in a season like that, where it is just a lost season? There is no hope of playoffs. You can talk about the draft picks. You can talk about the draft lottery. You then start to look
at how many months, like
today in the. Because Zach Werenski is going to be skating. He might be coming back soon, but he was referencing a story he wrote 2 years ago about the 23-24 Columbus Blue Jackets and what to maybe expect. And Oliver Bjorkstrand was in there. So, wait, he's in Seattle. There were a couple other guys. Well, he's not supposed to be. He's on the other side, though.
Like Dubois is going to win a Selke.
Sure didn't have Johnny Gaudreau on the team. Definitely thought there'd be more out of line. Anyway, it's
4th from the bottom, and the teams below them, they're trying, but that's almost a strong verb. We know San Jose is really, really bad. They are rebuilding without a prospect cupboard.
Yeah.
Chicago, we knew was going to be awful. Then they lose Bedard for 8 weeks or so with the fractured jaw. And Anaheim, it's clearly Pat Verbeek is trying to get his fingerprints on that thing. Those are the only teams in the entire NHL with a worse points percentage than Columbus. And again, it's a team that's spending and going and getting free agents and operating as if they could be, squeak into a wild card. It just, again, isn't happening.
Yeah. You don't blame them for the Gaudreau deal. You just do it. You get a guy, you get a star caliber player that's going to come in there.
Falls in your lap.
You take it.
I do blame them for the good Branson deal.
Yeah, you can blame them for the good Branson deal.
What are you doing?
It's not worked out. I was going to try and spin it a certain way, but there's no spinning. Because I was going to say
perfectly slotted here. Right?
You start looking forward. He's a guy you don't mind having around when Adam Fantilli is making his start. Sure. When Kent Johnson, when you've got some high end young players.
Yeah.
You want to have a little bit of reinforcement.
I like some muscle. I don't love $16 million, which tells me come play top 4 when you saw the best year Eric Branson's ever had in this league was in a clearly defined third pair role.
Yeah. And that's that Columbus thing. Calgary feels it. You have to pay more.
Especially
you have to pay more to get the guys.
If you're going to hang banners, people will give you deals, but that sounds like a contender.
Yeah. So that's coming up in the next game. But I feel for Columbus because there's just been no real reason to get excited about Blue Jacket hockey for so long.
Do we get the big feels into the feelings, emotional? Because Johnny came back last year, and there was a thing, and there was the cheering and the booing and the cheering and the tears, and it's another year further from what happened, but it's also, you're joking in some senses, but also not in others, that it's still a Johnny, just come back. This has gone horribly for you.
Yeah. If you're anti-Gaudreau then that's one thing. But I would say, because no one has come in yet and really taken a hold of the superstar role. This is a team that could still use a high-end offensive player, could use him desperately, because they've got slotting their third line, second line. There's good balance, and there's a lot of reasons to like what Calgary has, but they just don't have a game breaker, a high-end guy. Yeah. And yes, he would fit so great. And
Lindholm misses him.
Yeah. So
all those looks you got in the house,
and you flip it, you go one step further. It's not as though he's flourishing there.
No, God, no.
They're not winning. He's not making the playoffs again. His numbers are down.
And when they made that deal, you're like, oh man, maybe this brings back, there's a revival of Laine. No. And well, maybe he'll be set. Like, he's just way off. He left Calgary at over a point per game in his NHL career.
Yeah.
That is a very significant milestone that I think not a lot of people would have recognized, that despite coming in straight from college, and he scores in game 82 against Vancouver in a meaningless year, but he left Calgary with more points than games played. That's an incredibly short list in the league, never mind for Flames. And he's nowhere close to that in Columbus.
No,
it's been ugly.
So yeah, it will be for me. It's what could have been.
Yeah.
It really does feel like a circumstance that hasn't worked for anyone. And
the bloody uncles on Twitter not even denying it.
I mean, but his life is, I'm sure it's great. He's got a kid, his wife. Wow. I'm sure that Columbus, all anyone will tell you is it's a great place to live, a great area. Ohio State is an awesome place.
Sure.
So I'm sure life is great. But from a professional standpoint, it sure seems unfortunate for everyone that he's there.
Yeah, and I tell you what, if you're making NHL money and 7-year free agent deals, you're going to be in a really nice neighborhood with great people in a city that's probably pretty awesome anywhere in this league, and your wife and kid are going to be there with you. It's not worked there.
It's a shame. It's not your fault, John.
I thought I was over it. I guess I'm not.
Come on home, John. No one's wearing 13. You can have it back.
German T-Top says he's just going to pretend he never wore it.
You want your locker back in the whoever's in there will kick him out. What else did he do when he was here? I mean,
lots.
Does he like video games? We can talk to Greta. We can get him one of those player cards, some credits.
Yeah, get him some credits.
Get some credits at Greta. Take care of him.
Get him some muscle and some credits.
Yeah,
because there's some lines for Mario Kart. He shouldn't have to wait for those.
Yeah.
Short lines, but
fair enough. We'll get into some burning questions. I'm not sure what we've got here tonight. You may have to read them. I don't know my glasses.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm good to read.
Going blind. You can get them in on the in the chat.
This is Red Hot Hockey. What is Huskisson and Osterley? He is so bad. I'll answer that. I think he sees 3 AHL level options for his third pair and has to pick 2. And so on some nights he picks Osterley, on other nights he picks DeSimone, and on other nights he picks Dennis Gilbert. And most of those nights he has to pick 2. If you're a Calgary Flames fan, I think the hope would be that Oliver Shillington can allow Ryan Huska to pick one of those. And I do like Dennis Gilbert a little more than the others.
Rank them for me.
Gilbert, DeSimone, because he's a right-handed shot, and I don't like Osterley and Gilbert both as lefties together. And then Osterley, who started 7, believe it or not. If you remember camp, I think he broke as the 7. He would be down the list. And to be fair, at that point, I'm A-okay with you taking a look at Jan Kuznetsov again or Ilya Solovyov. I really just think we're right into AHL territory. If it's not going to be someone that only gets 4 minutes, why not get a kid in there?
And it feels to me almost like that gap is widening a little bit. It's Gilbert, then it's DeSimone, and you hate to pick on the guy, but there's been a lot of egregious errors that are ending up almost directly pucks in his net.
And correct me if I'm wrong, it's a 1-year deal at close to league minimum. I mean, that's what you were buying. This is not, hey, here's a great guy that can play significant minute. No, like those guys don't get $800,000 on 1-year deals. This Gilbert, was a maybe I can make the team. Gilbert I've really liked. Different story there.
But he's not making, it's not like he's making 1.5.
No, but he was a multi-year deal and they've liked him. And I think the physicality, he's blossomed into something here. Osterley is what he's always been, and he's older as well. Like I think he's 31. Like There's nothing new here. This is the same Oshley you saw with a spin in Edmonton and a spin in Detroit and a spin in Arizona. He's a journeyman depth D man.
Yeah. So it's I'm sure it's not that his general manager traded Nikita Zadorov without getting anyone back. So that means you've got to put a warm body. You're not just going to play with 5D. And that is one area, as you get closer to the trade deadline, you wonder, and into the draft as well, if defense becomes, you talked about it, center and defense has got to be a priority for this team in terms of not rebuilding, but trying to fill out the cupboard.
I think it's superstars over position, but if there's guys in the same box, by all means, a center and a D would be a lot. And maybe Honzik turns out to be a center, but right now they don't have a lot coming at either of those positions, and they do seem to have a lot of middle six wingers.
It's a conversation for way down the road, but I just kind of glanced at the draft.
I know. I saw it too.
That. But you wonder if there's a spot in there, because it looks like there might be a chunk of.
Did you see an Iginla at 11 in the rankings?
Sure, yeah.
Oh my God.
There's a chunk right there that, depending, it might be a defense.
It sounds like a good top end D class from what I think I've read ages ago. We will freshen up as we get closer.
Yeah, we'll freshen. Good
four-game winning streak got us off the scent there.
Was it a good question? I don't know. It's just it sounds like he was picking on.
What's up with this team? They've looked great. Now they look like they couldn't care less. I mean, that's from Alex. They have had some really impressive showings. They don't get everyone else's best. They don't get the, hey, here's Vegas, let's beat the champs. But they can't control anything on the other side of the ice. All they can do is work. And that gauntlet run, they had a lot of really good hockey. They gave Dallas fits. They played Colorado and Vegas tough. They split with Vancouver over that run, albeit a tired Vancouver club was the one they got the win in. They hung with some really good teams, but it was just never in a fashion that made you believe they could do it forever. And they were barely over 500, right? Or were they 8-7-2 or something like that?
And they did. They played great in Vegas, but Vegas was missing 2 or 3 key guys and guys in the back end as well. And so you didn't get their best. And I would dare say that St. Louis didn't get Calgary's best tonight. They were not very good. We've seen them play. Vegas, the example, where they've been very good. And to your point earlier, if Markstrom isn't brilliant early,
it's a laugher.
We'd be getting all kinds of questions tonight.
That's when Rick and Kelly start talking about the sitcoms in the 60s. Yeah, it's like, we're not doing the game anymore. We're doing knee slappers and one-liners.
It's all part of an 82-game season.
Next question. This from Penguin P. They don't look the same without Pospisil, especially that Kadri line. Coronado just doesn't fit well on that line, unbalances it. I wouldn't say that yet. It's only a second game, and I thought they were better tonight. But you said it the other day. That's a guy you want in the Battle of Alberta. He wasn't there. You noticed his absence. And again tonight, he's a little spark plug, a firecracker. He's a catalyst.
No one else does what he does.
Right.
And there is some offensive ability there.
Yes.
We saw it most of that one-handed pass through the crease to Kadri. And it's maybe getting like overstating it or getting too romantic about it or whatever, but he is a guy that can turn a game with a hit, or if he takes a hit or a moment where he crashes into the crease, it can just be enough to kind of disrupt the flow of the game, bring your bench to life. Because that was kind of a no-hitter tonight.
Yeah.
It was, Klapka does what he does, but it's not really his role.
That's the fourth line.
Yeah. I don't know that it's necessary that it's tied, but it's not. I don't think it's a zero coincidence that line has not looked or had quite the same pop without him.
I remember Michael Backlund saying it about Matthew Tkachuk. It's like there's just certain players that they drag you into the game. You cannot just go through your work hard, change. They ramp up the emotion, and you can be trying your hardest, but sometimes you're just not emotionally fired up. When you play with guys like this, you have to, because there's pushing and shoving and scrums, and there's a mitt in your face, and that doesn't do anything but engage you further, right? Yeah. That's a Pospisil type energy they really haven't had since Tkachuk, and now that he's gone, you see it missing.
Maybe someone needs to put on a tinted visor.
Could someone go get the tint?
Do you think that's it? I'm trying to think.
Dennis Gilbert, can you wear the tint?
If you put something on, does that give you a little bit more?
Jay Greer, can you?
I like Greer.
I do too. Yeah, I mean,
it's been a nice find.
Package him with a D-man, send him out. Let's go.
Yeah.
Turn that into an extra pick this year. Good work. Question: who, if any, of the recent call-ups have impressed? Now, the recent ones would be Coronado, Klapka, Schwint tonight. What was ice time on Schwinn? I know you were looking at it there.
I'll take a look. See,
he had a glorious chance where the puck just popped to him in the slot and he walked in, didn't score there, but that would have made the debut a little more memorable. I know that Pospisil made an impact right away. Zeri made an impact right away, but that was way back in October, November. So
6:45.
Yeah, not a ton, but he's there. I don't know. It sounds like Ryan Huska is saying who wants to be fourth line center, and they are going to be in the market of selling a center potentially, and you want to see what you have. You know what you have in Ruzicka. Bit of a tease and some tools, but just not much happens. And why not get a look at Schwinn, who, is not an insignificant player.
We talked about on the other show. Just keep cycling them through.
Yeah, and so I don't know. Like Plopka hasn't wowed me. I don't know that that's an NHLer. I'd say the same for Schwinn. I think Coronado tonight showed you some glimmers, but it wasn't like he took over the game. Those are the recent call-ups.
Yeah. So I
like that 58 Shillington. He can really skate.
Anderson 25 minutes, Hannafin 24-25, Uyghur 22-37, Tanev 20.
Top four going to play 21. A ton with as long as that third pair
play a ton.
Is those types guys we noted, and not a Shillington in there. There's just not another body that can eat on big minutes.
Yeah, I don't know what Rasmus, can you do too much of a cold tub or whatever it is? Because whatever there is after the 10-day break, there'll be a lot of those 24, 25, 26.
Go to
games.
Iceland and sit in the ocean.
Is that what it is?
There's your cold tub.
Some kind of
just hang for a week,
or hire a masseuse
to
just nonstop. Just keep right there in the delts. Do you get massages in your delts?
Deltoids? Don't know where they are.
I don't either. I don't think I have them.
I think they're probably somewhere there.
I'm not sure if I got them. I'm not sure if I have deltoids.
Next question. Do you think Conroy might have to work harder as a rookie GM, perhaps without the respect of a Lamoriello or a Treliving, for example, to get trades done? That coming in from Yeri?
I think they'll test them.
I think there's something to that. I don't know that working harder maybe is the best way to describe it, but I think you're going to have to grind probably more. Is that fair?
I think
guys are going to try to pull the wool over your eyes, right?
Yeah, they're going to try. Your player is, I take him from you.
Doing you a favor, Connie.
What is it, Lindholm? I mean, I guess we could maybe find a spot for him.
What do you think? A couple seconds for Well, we were hoping at first.
Yeah.
And.
I think the other part of it is the agents to test his negotiation, how desperate, because that was the one thing with Treliving. For the most part, there's a couple glaring omissions, but for the most part, he was a hard ass and a hard line. And sometimes it really worked out, and sometimes it kind of bit him in the ass.
He was good on renewing guys he had with team control, struggled a little more in free agency, but that's probably most GMs.
Yeah. So I think that will be a bit of a challenge, but I think if you're another GM and there's a player on the Flames roster you can be as cute as you want, I suppose. If you really need Chris Tanev, or do you think you're a Chris Tanev away from having a really deep blue line going into the playoffs, then go ahead and be cute.
You're not going to get him.
But it's not going to. It's probably not going to work for you.
The closer you get to the deadline, the less time there is for nonsense. Craig's just going to stop answering if you're offering nonsense. And look, he's clearly done well in the Sharon Govich trade. That brings him a little more cachet and respect amongst his peers. The Zadorov trade seems within the realm of reasonable. That probably
his hard line there was not eating money,
and he did that.
Yeah,
I think Vancouver's hard line might have been not our third this year. Take it in 2026.
Yeah.
So it was a reasonable deal. I wouldn't say that somebody clotheslined someone else. It's certainly, I like it for Vancouver for what he brings them and what they're missing. But
it's a passing grade for sure. If you want to really get into it and
and we'll see.
The Greer waiver wire pickup was a solid pickup for sure. Yeah.
And so I think as these things happen and as he's continued to say no to nonsense offers right since leading into the draft till now, that's part of gaining that respectability and less of the, are we done playing, trick the kid?
Yeah.
Like I'm at the adult table now. Let's get real with our offers, or I'm just not going to answer the phone anymore. There's lots of teams that want a Tanev and a Lindholm. I don't need to deal with you. I think he's passed a lot of those tests to this point.
He's traded to Foley and Zadorov. He's proven that he's willing to deal.
Yes.
It's not a guy who's shit scared to make a bad deal. He's willing to trade. He's just not going to be, hoodwinked, or he's not going to be. And I don't know where Pascal, Dave Nonis, Maloney, I don't know how that all works. It's a
Yeah.
sounding board. He'll take all of that in, but you have to think his word is the final word.
I would absolutely think that, and I think we would be silly not to mention Jerome's name as well.
Sure.
Who we know that, would there be one of those other guys that Connie would confide in more than he would with Iggy?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think Iggy's his guy.
I think they've been guys for 25 years.
Yeah.
Or 20, I guess it would be.
And
Maybe
if you're a
that means
Flames fan,
something.
you're probably happy hearing that.
I think so. And I think, I
Which is
think
no
they want to
disrespect to the
build.
other
No,
guys.
it's not. But you need other guys like that too. You need people that are fluent in CBA and that understand the nuances of, the cap and LTIR. And you need guys that have negotiated with agents and understand their tendencies. There's a lot of work that goes on that's not just trades and signing guys.
There you go.
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
Got us blabbing. This is from KQ. What's Wolfie thinking?
KQ's trying to stir up shit.
It's a question that what's he thinking? He might be thinking about his next start with the Wranglers. I don't know. I don't know the kid well enough. I think that patience is the hardest thing, but it doesn't seem to have affected the kid's outlook, attitude, or performance. And that tells me he knows his opportunity's coming. He just has to be a little longer. You really hope they could open up a spot for him after the deadline, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I mean, you thought you'd have had a spot for him by now.
That's why I say it, is that I think he probably thought, I'll go dominate, hang zeros, and collect wins in the A, and then I'll be undeniable by November. And he's kind of held up his part, but circumstances haven't allowed him to get more than 5 starts in his NHL career. That's not a lot.
What's he thinking? He's thinking, I
ready.
really want to be in the NHL, and I thought I'd be there right now. And I'm not super pumped about it, but I'm not going to kick up a stink about it.
Yeah.
But I think probably at the same time he knows that this is his team in
His
the
time's
future.
coming,
There's
yes.
no one. There's nothing else. It's not like Vladar is a year younger than him, or
No.
This is the path in net is still his.
And the way we talked about this team in the summer, where it's like, just be good enough or be bad enough. Don't be in the middle. I feel the same way about Dan Vladar. Go be lights out and be like the second star in a game you lose 2-0 or whatever, or just get torched, because either of those outcomes makes room for Dustin Wolf. If he's going to be not a top 15 backup in this league, put him through waivers. No one's paying 2.2 for him.
Yeah.
And if he is going to be a guy like, wow, we could platoon this guy with another young guy, and then, we've got this little insurance policy. Look at how athletic he is. Our goalie guy thinks he can work some magic here. Now you can trade him. What you don't want is kind of what we've seen this year, which is not quite bad enough to demote and not quite good enough where the trade offers are rolling in like they may have been earlier in his tenure here.
I think we talked about it the other night or on one of these shows. It's Dan Vladar, the player. He's playing well enough that I think some teams would covet having him in their goaltending tandem. But it's the one
Dan
more
Vladar,
year,
the contract,
and 2.2 that make it problematic.
Yeah, it's getting closer. I liked what I've seen while Markstrom was hurt there, but safe to say it's not there yet or he'd be gone. I think they're looking to make room for Wolf. Hey, guys, this is from Austin. When do you think Pelche will come back? Do you think he'll make a significant impact on the team? I don't know. I believe he's skating. I don't know that he's playing. That's something I should know. I don't think he's there yet.
Well, the thing, you're right.
Look at this.
I was going to say that's Pelche could play next week, was working on contact drills.
Excellent.
For the NHL club, they're off for 10 days after the weekend. And his timetable was lining up. They were hoping on the short end, January, more on 4 to 6 or whatever it ended up being. You were looking at February, so that's what they're going to be at.
It's right in that wheelhouse, and then it's getting up to game speed and cardio, right?
Start with the Wranglers, you would think.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
And then get in here.
And would it surprise you if somehow, some way, you came back from the All-Star break and there was 1 or 2 less bodies at the forward ranks? I mean, we've seen the deletion of Dubé. I just have bad vibes about his availability moving forward. I don't think anything you've seen from Klapka or Schwint has been undeniable. I do think he'd look better in a top 9 role. But if let's say the write-off for Lindholm comes around, it's like, okay, we're shuffling some bodies around. Get your ass up here if you're playing well.
Wouldn't you love it? Knock on wood. You come back from the All-Star break, and if not for game 1, but somewhere in early February, You've got Oliver Shillington, Pelche, Pospisil, all
With
back
Zary.
into your lineup with
Yeah.
Zari and Coronado.
God, that'd be nice. Yeah,
I didn't-
and honestly, like, what more do you need to see from Adam Ruzicka? I know that we're talking centers versus wingers now, but like Klapka, it's like, okay, still very raw, a lot of tools, not a lot of time in the pro game. Schwint feels like a depth centerman for me. Like, let's see what these higher ceiling first round guys can do, because you can rotate these quad A type guys through the fourth line all year, and they have, and it's given them some energy. But outside of Pospisil, no one's jumped into the top 9 and really made an impact. Because I think, Zary's a first rounder. There's some cachet there.
How about Pike jumping in?
Love it.
Oh boy, Pike. Pike bomb. Little afterburner Pike bomb there.
He was clarifying my my hopes that what I had said was
Oh
correct.
yeah. As we spit out a bunch of stuff, then the guy that actually knows stuff gets involved. So that's
Pike
nice.
gets to sift through and say, yeah, just ignore this part, delete these 5 minutes. And I think this, what they said here, actually makes sense.
Yeah,
It's a short show when he does that.
it is. I wanted to get the exact details here because I feel like I want to get some tickets and give tickets away and test your heavy metal / late 80s, early 90s rock.
Is this your peak wheelhouse? Like, is there a genre and an age of sound that resonates more with you, or at least harkens more?
Well,
what's the when you feel like you're going back, nostalgia?
Mm-hmm. Country music. I love. Although I don't like the new country so much. It's
like rapping.
Sound like
stuff.
an old guy.
What are you doing?
New country. These kids today. But yeah, that it's like when you're in high school, right?
That's true. What did you listen to in high school? That's probably what reminds you of the good old days.
From the band that brought you all-time hits: Cherry Pie, Heaven, The Down Boys, Uncle Tom's Cabin, Warrant.
You're excited about this?
I am excited about it. Cherry Pie is one of the best bops of all time.
It's a banger.
It's a complete banger. I don't know how Seaborn didn't play it the other night.
Did we not get a Cherry Pie?
My God, because we were right there. That has to be in his wheelhouse.
Oh, for sure. We were bouncing genres at the end of the night. It was pretty fun.
Oh, and
between 2 and 4, when you're just playing one-hit wonders from people when they were in high school, the stuff that was top 40 25 years ago, but you loved.
I don't know who was playing music at the pond hockey. They had Rat, Round and Round.
Yeah, day 2 they went rock. Day 1
Little
was
White
like
Snake.
Trippy mellow
Here
music.
I Go Again.
Yeah. Day 2 they were nails.
Tremendous.
Good work,
So
Red
coming up, again, go to Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.ca. You've got Warrant, and the same night, Quiet Riot, live at the Grey Eagle Event Center, Thursday, February 22nd. All tickets for all events that are at the Event Center through Ticketmaster, ticketmaster.ca.
Thursday.
Come on, feel the noise,
Yes.
Mental Health, a little Quiet Riot for you, and yes, a little bit of Warrant. Heaven isn't too far away.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's from the album Dirty, Rotten, Filthy, Stinkin' Rich.
Whoa.
Down Boys also on there.
That's a lot.
Take it down, take it down.
That sounds like my Blood Sugar Sex Magic Chili Peppers of my junior high school days.
Where the Down Boys go. Sheldon knows what he's doing too.
Yeah, he's good. He's
he's always dressed nice and stuff. He had a mullet, guaranteed.
Oh,
guaranteed. He had a mullet
1000%.
and had Warrant.
By the way, I'm sorry. Brett made new rules. The mullet has to be
Gotta
out.
see it. Tremendous.
Still got it, baby.
Like, are you going to upkeep it? Because it's one thing to cut it in as a joke or whatever, and then now we kind of.
I'm still working on my regime, because certain products are no battle for this evil, sinister mop of mine.
Because
we need high test.
Because if you then go back to the barber or the hairdresser to get it, we got to take care of it. We got to tighten it up here and get some. Because then now it's.
I don't think it's really done until we get some racing stripes or lightning bolts. Am I crazy?
Well,
am I wrong?
An American flag on the Pinder.
Well, that's months away. That's our next tune-up.
Oh yeah. we just need, and you guys can help. Just keep coming up with events or in the calendar. It's like, oh well, you got to have it.
Well,
yeah, because I said St. Patrick's Day. You got to have your mullet for St. Patty's Day.
I don't know why, but you're right.
I mean, look at Canada Day. Can you imagine? Canada Day.
Canada flag in the side of the
Let's
mullet.
go.
Let's go. Let's go.
It's tremendous.
Yeah.
I appreciate your Afterburner shows as I live in Hawaii, but from Calgary, so I rely on you guys to keep up the good work.
We need Rhett to move to Hawaii. You know where I'm going here? Because you, I know you're familiar with, you love time zones, geometrically speaking and such. Yeah. The games are nice and early. He can't fall asleep at the first intermission when
it's 3, right? 3 time zones.
Here, yeah. Like, so that game would have been a 4 p.m. puck drop. I mean, you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's hot out. I got to get in, crack a cold one, maybe cook some dinner while you're watching the game. Rhett in Hawaii, man. What's he doing moving to Buffalo?
Idiot. He doesn't know either.
Yeah, that's true.
Pinder, please keep that flow until Valentine's Day at least. That's another pipe
What
bomb.
are you saying, Pipe?
Of course. Valentine's Day. Well, we've got an event in Toronto next weekend, and you've committed to at least that.
Well, I just know how much those folks in the Big Smoke are fond of Albertans, and I thought I'd lean right into that.
You need some kind of a cowboy hat where the it can come out the back, but we can still see the sides. I don't know. We'll work on it.
We'll workshop some headgear for sure. I don't want to wear a hat too much. It really does. You lose the majesty of it all.
You do. You don't the toque. You don't even know it's there.
Yeah, no, that's why I felt bad. I was wearing it. Sorry, guys. All-Star weekend.
Clean it up, Ryan.
Any final ones there for us, Jacko? It's an hour now. It's
an hour after a bitter defeat.
Oh, it's just heartbreaking. Just a gut punched in, yeah.
3 unanswered goals after having a 3-1 lead.
Yeah.
That's a kick right in the knuckles.
Just a kick. What'd you have for dinner tonight? Yeah. The wings here.
I had wings here.
Your wings are good.
Yeah.
Your salt and pepper or hot?
Dill pickle.
Oh, they don't.
Yeah.
Wow.
Stage bar, dill pickle wings.
That is a veteran move.
Yeah. They have about 2 or 3 levels of hot. They have the salt and pepper and the dill pickle. I think there was a couple other in there, like a barbecue or a teriyaki. But yeah, I went with the dill pickle.
The big game is coming soon. I don't want to scare anyone. And people are asking because last year we were here for the biggest football game of the year. This year we are maybe partied and traveled out a bit, evented out. It's been a very busy January. I know I've got my eyes on my couch, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be here at the Grey Eagle watching the big game. It was a blast last year. The sound was pumping, the whole place jumping, and not unlike when you're down in Vegas, everyone had the old first touchdown bet. They got the stopwatches out for the anthem. The fellas had their prop bets. It was good.
The big game Sunday, February 11th at the Blaze Bar and Grill and at the Stag Bar. Stage Bar. Happy hour, food and drink specials from 2 until 8.
Perfect.
Enter to win amazing prizes like 2 tickets to an upcoming regular season game in that league where the big game is at. $100 in free play, a hotel stay, or a $100 Grey Eagle gift card. So some winning to be done as well as watching the big game.
Yep. So don't mess this up. It's the last football game until like next September. It's getting sad now.
Who's going to be in that game?
3 left. If you ask me and I tell you the answer, expect the teams I didn't name.
Okay.
And I'm feeling San Francisco and Kansas City, so that probably means it's Baltimore, Detroit.
I would love it to be Detroit. It
would be kind of cool.
It started last year with Hard Knocks. You couldn't help but dig Dan Campbell and even the press conference. Oh, I'm going to bite your kneecaps.
Kneecap.
And those Detroit fans, and Rhett will say Buffalo, and I don't
punished.
Kind of Rhett and his attitude has made me turn on the Buffalo Bills a little
Well, and to be fair, they're in the playoffs a bunch, and they have played a lot of playoff games. We're talking 30 years for Detroit fans to see a playoff win. Like we're talking Barry Sanders.
Yeah.
That is nuts.
Meanwhile, Jack is somewhere saying, what about the Steelers?
Shut up, Jack. It's not about the Steelers. There's 4 teams left. They're not eligible to be left. Jack.
I think we've done all we can do.
It's heavy lifting.
It's a lot of heavy lifting. Thursday, the next game.
Columbus, Johnny night. It'll be myself and Cammie. We both should be in studio. Cammie prefers studio. I prefer studio. Look forward to that one. We've got some new displayed items on your side that have been hiding.
I like it.
No, we're good.
I like it.
And maybe we've won another trophy by then that'll be hanging out. I don't know.
It's a lot of winning when you're a winner.
all we do is win, 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 no matter what. I believe
What?
is
That's how it
the
goes.
lyric of the song.
Thank you to Jack for rolling tape back at the World Headquarters.
That's or somewhere.
And thank you to the Grey Eagle Resort and Casino for being great hosts for us as always. Check out the stage bar. There's always something happening. You want to watch the games, whatever it is, football, hockey, they're all on. Sound is pumping. Great food, great drinks.
The Canadian Country Music Artist Award winners were here a lot when we had the draft in the spring. They're always got
There's
great.
always something going on. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.ca. Warrant Cherry Pie. Support the sponsors.
Support Cherry Pie.
That's right. Support some cherry pie. See ya, buddies.
See ya.